Okay, I'm getting a lot of people asking where's the best place to set up a business. And one of the things that's coming up a lot is the differences between Dubai and actually other places like St. Kitts or the Cayman Islands. I'm actually going to center on more on St. Kitts and Dubai today. This is also a view of Frigate Bay out towards the ocean up high in a neighborhood, and this is a quiet neighborhood too here. It's a planned unit development, but I'm not here to talk to you about this today so much as I wanted to talk to you about the best place I feel like to set up a company and why that is. And I wanted to center on Dubai and St. Kitts. And the reason I want to do that is I've lived in both places for many years, okay? More in St. Kitts than in Dubai. I was in Dubai for about 5 years. But I'm going to give you some big things that you need to learn before you go to Dubai, because you won't find this stuff out. I'm not finding anybody really talking about this on the internet, and you really need to know, all the other little things that are big differences, little things that will make big differences in your business, and things that, that can be gigantic deterrents on your company when you go to Dubai, okay? And they both really have their advantages and disadvantages, but I'm going to give you the advantages of both of them and the disadvantages. Let's talk a little bit on some of the things that you're going to run into in a business. As far as when you start a business in Dubai, you're actually going to be in the hole as soon as you get there. Okay, so you're going to have fees going out before you have anything coming in. Most people will. If you don't, then you're unique in that you've already got a business already set up, and you just switch locations, and you're still getting business coming in. But if you're starting a business from scratch, and you don't have any business coming in, and you move to Dubai, I promise you're going to be in the hole. In fact, there's probably more companies that go under in Dubai than the U.S. because the U.S. And I'm not saying the U.S. is a better place to set up a company, but the reason I'm telling you this is the U.S., you can literally start off in a garage. You don't have to have an office, and you don't have as many obligations for employees as you do in Dubai, believe it or not. Now, although Dubai doesn't require employees to have Social Security on their employees, they have other obligations that can be as high or pretty close to just as high, depending on a lot of factors, okay? To give you an example, when you go to Dubai and you hire employees, you're going to have to give them you're going to have to pay for their trip to go back to their home country. So if they're from the Philippines, you're going to have to pay for a round trip ticket once a year, okay? And also you're going to have, health benefits and things like this you're going to have to pay. And there are other things too you're going to have to pick up. But the big thing is your visa fees. You're going to have actually for yourself, you're going to have visa fees, licensing fees, company fees, and you're going to have to pay these visa fees also for your employees and also for your family if you're setting up your own business, okay? Now, in a country like St. Kitts, let's look at a comparison. In St. Kitts, if you come to here and you're getting citizenship, that's the best way to do it. You don't have to do that, but if you get citizenship, there is no company fee. An unincorporated business, it costs zero, okay? You pay nothing. Dubai, you're going to have to pay thousands of dollars in a lot of cases, okay? And then you got licensing fees. When you add those two together, you're going to be paying probably thousands of dollars is what you're going to end up paying. Depends on what you're involved with, okay? In St. Kitts, you pay a licensing fee once a year of about 180 US bucks. That's it, okay? And you don't have to work. You can work out of your house if you want to. You don't have to have an office. If you got an internet business and you start from scratch, man, it's a lot cheaper to run it from St. Kitts because you got no cost up front coming in except for the licensing fee. That's it, okay? So you can start from scratch in St. Kitts. Dubai, you're going to be in the hole, man. I'm going to tell you. And also, if you don't get a free zone company, you're going to have to get a local service agent. And depending on what you negotiate with him, he's going to get a fee each year. And some people pay thousands of dollars. Some pay less than that. It just depends on what you negotiate with him. This guy's like paying for dirt. He does nothing for your business, but you're required to have this. Now, you can still own 100% of your company, The local service agent doesn't own your company. They passed the law now. You can have your own company in Dubai. The problem is this guy's a local Emirati. You still have to have a local service agent even if you own 100% of the company. Okay, so and you're going to have to pay that fee. St. Kitts, you don't have that. Okay, that's totally skipped. Your licensing fee, $180 a year, and that is it, folks. Nothing else. Okay, and but these fees can really add up because when you figure you got to get an office right off the bat, offices are expensive in Dubai, very expensive, and you can get these flexi offices. They're not quite as high, but the government, when I left there, would not allow flexi offices for a lot of businesses. Okay, you had to have a 200 square foot office, and they could literally go by there and fine you if you didn't have a 200 square foot office, and so you're gonna have that right off the bat. So I'm thinking, why would you want to have all these fees up front and obligations when you come to St. Kitts and not have any of these fees except for $180 license fee? It doesn't make sense. Okay. And also there are other things too that can really hamper your business. One thing I hated when I got to Dubai was you could not, at first they blocked all your WhatsApp overseas messages, okay? So in other words, you could do an overseas text with WhatsApp, but you couldn't do an overseas phone call. So I used magicJack and I used Skype, and then they blocked that. What it is, they've got a monopoly, a phone monopoly. Etisalat is one of the companies. There's another one, I forgot the other company's name there. But they're government owned, they're, or at least partially government owned, and they've got a monopoly on the phone system, which means that they have scrambled everything where you have to use their overseas phone system, and it's expensive. That means forget magicJack, forget Skype, and you can also forget WhatsApp, making overseas calls. And you can do the texts, but you can't do the calls, okay? So your calls are going to go way up if you're doing a lot of international calls. Okay, this is the thing I probably hated the most. I mean, there were a few other things, the freedom, the rights, and stuff like that, but these are things that you will not find out. You don't ever see this stuff on the internet. These are things I'm trying to tell you that you need to watch out for, because your phone bill can be a lot. Your office bill can be a lot. These are things that you get to zero in St. Kitts, because St. Kitts is a free country. They don't block Skype. They don't block magicJack. They don't block, WhatsApp. I'm going to tell you something makes a huge difference when you have these at your disposal, where you could make overseas phone calls at no cost, okay? And you're forced to use the monopoly system they've got in Dubai to making your overseas phone calls. There are other things too that are used to drive me nuts, and of course the free zone companies, you can't avoid the local service agent, but your licensing fees are going to be higher if you use a free zone typically than you use a local Dubai company. So if they don't get you one way, they get you another. And also, you've got a lot of, I would tell you too, if you go to Dubai, I used to didn't think this way, but I do now because the experience I ran through. I think you're better off setting up a free zone company, although there are disadvantages of having a free zone company. Technically, you're not supposed to sign contracts outside the free zone. If you do it, they can fine you, okay? Regardless of what anybody tells you, go to a lawyer when you go to Dubai. They'll tell you correctly. They will fine you. They can fine you a lot of money if you sign contracts outside the free zone, okay? Which means people are going to have to come to you. You can't go to them illegally, okay? St. Kitts, you don't have that. You can go anywhere you want. I mean, you don't have these zones areas and where you can sign contracts and stuff like that. And also, folks, if you want to learn how to legally get your income taxes to zero, or how to get a second passport, as quick as 45 days, do three things. Hit the subscribe button on the right of your screen. You'll get new videos automatically as they come out. And number two is I would like to hear from you. If you got a question or comment, just put it below. And number three is go to our website, www.citizenshipquickly.com, and ask for some help. And we've got the link below on the bottom of the screen also. Okay, now, so these are some things here that are going to be costly things that you're going to experience as soon as you get there. So you're going to have expenses coming in immediately, okay? St. Kitts, you come to St. Kitts, you don't have any of those expenses at all, okay? There is no obligation where you got to pay somebody, to for their trip to go back to the, to where they came from. You can make long distance overseas calls that cost you nothing. That can be a huge bill when you don't have long distance calls, you don't have overhead costs on an office. And you've got freedom of speech too in St. Kitts. You do not have that in Dubai. I never see anybody ever talk about this on the internet. It blows my mind. To me, that's probably the most important thing in the world. If you put something negative, anything on Facebook with a friend about the government or anything, they can go in and literally arrest you. Okay? You never see stuff like this. Now, if you go on the internet, you will pull it up. Usually providers are not telling you this. Okay? Go on the internet and look up tortures that have happened in Dubai and things that have happened. This is where you pull it up. Okay? Typically people promoting, they're not going to tell you about this stuff. You need to go and look for yourself before you make the leap to go over there. Another big thing too is if you're coming from places like Canada, the US, even the UK, it's a lot quicker to come back to St. Kitts. St. Kitts is only like a few hours, like 3 or 4 hours, depending on where you are in the US, and Canada also. So if you want to get back, you can do that. And you don't have, remember in Dubai too, to keep that visa, you're going to have to go back there every 6 months. So if you're not based there and you're just using that company, okay, you got to make a trip to go back over there, okay, to keep that visa in force every 6 months. That's a lot of time out of your schedule. Now, if you're based over there already, then that's a different story. But some people want to have a company in a different place than where they're located. And sometimes they change that too. They could be in Dubai and decide they don't want to be there anymore, and then they got to leave, but then they got to come back every 6 months to keep the visa in force. You don't have that in St. Kitts. They don't have a requirement. You got to come back in and crap like this. It's very time consuming and costly to do this. These are things that you won't discover till you actually move over there and you all of a sudden, God, I didn't know about this. I know about this. I didn't know about this. I'm telling you right now, these are some of the things that you need to know about. Some other things too is, of course, I mentioned to you the employment costs. That's going to be a big factor right there too. Also, the UAE, the weather and stuff. This is probably another thing that I was going to tell you about. The heat there is, it's the hottest place I've ever been to. From about April through about October, it's incredibly hot there. You're looking at, I've been over there before, it was 120, 130 degrees. It's the heat is incredible. You literally, if you go outside, it's like you're breathing in a furnace room. It's incredibly hot there. Also, if you open your windows up, you really can't do it, because if you open your windows up, almost any place that you are in the UAE, you're going to have air pollution issues and stuff. I don't have that in St. Kitts, man. I can open my windows up, and it's just as clean as all get out the air. And to me, air quality is probably on the very top of my list. A lot of people don't look at that, but I do. Your air pollution is like zero in Frigate Bay, where I'm at, and most of the other country too. It's like no pollution at all. You've also got accessibility closer to the beaches. It's very difficult to get to the beaches unless you're in Dubai Marina, and getting down there and parking and stuff and getting out, that would be the only place I would want to live anyway, and that's where I did live when I was in the UAE, is in Dubai Marina. But the accessibility to beaches, the quality of life, to me, you get everything in St. Kitts, but a lot more with freedom than you do in Dubai. These are some things that you're going to have to think about. And the only way you're going to know, if you don't listen to me, is to go over there and live there for a while. But you'd have to actually experience St. Kitts. Now, I will tell you this, there is more nightlife in Dubai than there is in St. Kitts. So if you're looking for, they do have nightlife in St. Kitts, but there's a lot of, you've got, big nightclubs and stuff like that over there. So you're going to have to weigh the things. But if you're looking at cost as a factor and having a business and the requirements the government's going to have and the cost factors in running that business, I'm going to tell you it's going to be a lot cheaper in St. Kitts, no doubt. In fact, to be honest with you, you can live in St. Kitts if you want to. Of course, you can do this in Dubai too, but Dubai is going to charge you. You're going to have a lot of high fees to stay in Dubai. St. Kitts, you can live here and set up a company, and literally, it's and don't even have to pay that license fee, $180 a year. I mean, you can set up a seashells company or a Belize company and live in St. Kitts, and you're getting away from all these things. The only reason I would pick Dubai over St. Kitts is if you want a high number of population locally, not international, locally in the area where you're at, like in Dubai, because you've got, in the UAE, you've got approximately around 10 million people, and you've got a huge population that you will not pay income taxes on. But if your business internationally with the internet, it's a no-brainer. I'd pick St. Kitts over Dubai any day of the week. I mean, there's just no comparison. You literally can not only get your taxes to zero, you can get your cost close to zero in St. Kitts. You're not going to get that in Dubai. Anyway, folks, if you want to learn more on this, go to our website, www.citizenshipquickly.com. Hit the top bar that says apply with us, fill out the questions, hit that bottom bar that says send it to us. We deal with over 100 citizenship by investment, residency by investment countries all over the world. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We got around 600 videos. You'll learn all these new things. It's a lot cheaper to learn on these videos than trying to make an international move and then end up spending tons of money out. I've seen people lose tens of thousands of dollars in lost time and also in fees by not educating themselves before they make an international move. And I'd like to hear from you. If you got a question or comment, just put it below, and I look forward to talking to you on the next video. Take care.